Get comfortable with English in comfort. This is your English listening practice podcast to help you learn and improve naturally.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to English in Comfort.
This is the podcast where you can relax, listen, and improve your English without stress. Just sit back, get comfortable, and we'll keep you company.
I'm Emily.
And I'm Liam.
Every episode, we talk about something new, something that helps you get better at English in a way that feels natural.
And today, we're talking about how to speak more fluently. Not by memorizing more words, but by using smarter ways to improve.
A lot of learners feel stuck when they try to speak. They know the words, but something still feels off. Maybe the sentences don't come out smoothly, or it takes too long to find the right words.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not even about vocabulary. You can know hundreds of words and still feel like speaking is harder than it should be.
So today, we're going to talk about what actually helps, how to make speaking feel easier, how to practice in a way that works, and how to train your brain to think in English fast and speak naturally.
Make yourself comfortable, grab a drink if you want, and let's get started. We always notice how some people can understand English just fine, but the second they have to speak, they freeze. It's like their brain just locks up.
Yeah, that happens a lot. It's not because they don't know the words. It's because speaking and understanding are different skills.
I feel like people overthink it. They start worrying about grammar, pronunciation, if they sound weird. And by the time they figure it out, the moment's gone.
That's part of it. But there's also the fact that speaking takes practice. If someone only listens and reads, their brain isn't used to forming sentences in real time.
But what about people who do practice and still get stuck?
That's usually because they practice the wrong way. A lot of learners focus too much on memorizing instead of actually training their brain to speak.
So what do you think is worse? Lack of practice or overthinking?
Lack of practice. Overthinking happens because people don't have enough speaking experience. If you practice enough, your brain gets used to forming sentences without stopping.
I don't know. I've met people who speak a lot but still hesitate because they're too worried about making mistakes.
Then they haven't practiced in a way that builds fluency. It's not just about speaking more, it's about speaking in a way that trains your brain.
Whether you freeze up, overthink, or just don't have enough practice, you need the right strategies. It's not just about talking more. You have to train your brain to think in English before you speak.
Thinking speed makes a huge difference. If your brain takes too long to find words, your sentences break down. But you can train it. One simple way is answering random questions as fast as you can. No long pauses, no second guessing. Just say the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay, let's try it. Emily, what's the best breakfast food?
Oatmeal.
Too safe. Pick something weird.
Spaghetti with eggs?
That was fast. Kinda disturbing, but fast.
That's the point. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to respond. The more you do it, the faster your brain works in English.
I do this in conversations. Instead of translating, I force myself to respond right away. Sometimes it's messy, but people still understand me. Learning words one by one is slow. That's why some people sound unnatural when they speak. They're grabbing words one at a time instead of using full expressions.
Right. Native speakers don't think word by word. They use chunks, groups of words that naturally go together. Like instead of saying, I don't know, people often say, I have no idea. Or instead of very tired, they say completely exhausted.
It's like pre-made phrases.
Kind of, but it's not just long expressions. Even short things like at the moment or on my way are chunks. You don't have to build the sentence from scratch. You just pull a ready-made piece and drop it in.
Okay, let's test it. Give me a sentence and I'll try to replace a basic word with a chunk.
All right. Change I'm happy into something more natural.
I'm over the moon?
Good one. Now, instead of let's start, what's a more natural way to say it?
Let's get going.
Exactly. And this is how you sound smoother. Instead of searching for words, you pull from things you've already heard and practiced.
Makes sense. It's like having shortcuts instead of trying to build every sentence from zero. By the way, if you're wondering what phrases sound more fluent than basic words like happy or bad, don't worry. We'll do a separate episode where we give you a helpful list.
Yeah, with examples and ways to use them naturally. But for now, let's move on to our next strategy. Well, not really a strategy, but an issue that makes you sound less fluent when speaking, which is translating.
Even advanced learners do this. They hear something, translate it into their language. Think of a response, translate it back, and then speak. It slows everything down.
And sometimes the translation doesn't even work. Some things make sense in one language but sound strange in another.
Right, so how do you stop it?
You train your brain to think in English first, and you don't need to be perfect. Just small habits every day, like describe what you're doing in your head. If you're making coffee, think in English. I'm boiling water. I need more sugar. Simple stuff.
Instead of saying it in your language and then translating.
And another thing, talk to yourself. If you can't find the right word, just explain around it.
So if I forget refrigerator, I can just say, the cold place where I keep food?
Yes, that's what native speakers do too. They don't freeze if they forget a word. They find another way to say it. I think we've all been in a situation where someone talks to you in English and your mind just stops.
Oh yeah, like when a stranger asks me for directions and suddenly I forget every word I've ever known.
This happens a lot, even to people who understand English well. You're fine when you're prepared, but the moment someone surprises you, boom, silence.
Or worse, you panic and say something that makes no sense. One time I was at a coffee shop and the barista asked, "How's your day?" I meant to say good, but somehow I said coffee.
You answered coffee?
With confidence. Coffee. Just one word. No explanation. Then I took my drink and left.
That's impressive.
Thank you. But yeah, unexpected conversations throw people off. So what's the fix?
First, buy yourself time. If someone asks something and you panic, don't stand there frozen. Say, let me think, or, oh, good question. It gives your brain a second to catch up.
And if you don't understand them?
Ask them to repeat. Simple stuff like, sorry, can you say that again? Or could you speak a little slower? No need to overthink it.
Yeah, no one's judging you. People repeat things all the time, even in their own language.
And if you don't know how to answer, just say, I'm not sure, or I don't know much about that, but instead of freezing up.
Or just say coffee and leave.
Or that. And that's it for today. Remember, it's all about getting used to those moments when you don't know what to say. It's fine, really. You'll get better every time. And next time you're stuck, just give yourself a second, you'll figure it out.
As we always say, don't stress over mistakes. Everyone makes them. Keep practicing and you'll find it gets easier. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep going. Thanks for watching, everyone, and see you.
Thanks, Liam. Before we end, let's go over some words and phrases that may be new or unfamiliar to you. Feels off, meaning, something doesn't seem right or normal. Example, I don't know why, but this place feels off to me. Figure out, meaning, to understand or solve something. Example, it took me a while to figure out how to use this app. Brain locks up, meaning, when your mind suddenly stops working due to stress or confusion. Example, during the test, my brain locked up and I couldn't remember anything. Freeze, meaning, to stop moving or reacting, often due to fear or nerves. Example, I always freeze when I have to speak in front of a crowd. Second guessing, meaning, doubting or questioning a decision you've already made. Example, she kept second-guessing her answers after submitting the test. Disturbing, meaning, something that makes you feel uncomfortable or worried. Example, that movie was so disturbing. I couldn't sleep after watching it. Grabbing, meaning, taking something quickly. Example, he was in a hurry, so he just grabbed a sandwich and left. Chunks, meaning, small sections or pieces of something. Example, it's easier to remember new words if you learn them in chunks. Thanks, everyone. And don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more interesting videos. Keep practicing and keep learning English.